Welcome to the November the 11th, 1997 taping of It Happened in Grand Prairie, as we bring you the history of our city and some of the people that have been important in making that history and that are continuing to make history today. We're very pleased today to have two wonderful people, a splendid couple that have been in Grand Prairie since 1900 and I believe 48. And we're just so pleased to introduce to our viewing audience Mr. and Mrs. Grady Jacobs. Grady, welcome to the set.
Thank you.
Yes, glad to have you aboard. And Christine, we're so pleased to have you with us today too, my dear. And such a wonderful couple that have been so meaningful to Grand Prairie, and we want to thank you for coming with us to share your lives with us, and so that the people in Grand Prairie can see what very important folks that help make very good things happen in our city. And Grady, with your permission, we're going to get to you first. And if you'd look out into your camera over toward Jason over there and tell us about your family. Give us the genealogy of your family, please.
On 1923, May the 10th, I was born in Wichita Falls, Texas. And we moved from there when I was a baby to Garland, Texas. In fact, we came through Grand Prairie when I was a baby.
Yes.
And my dad, remember, stops at A. Taylor's filling station up there. I was telling about it. But actually, I'm named after an uncle of mine who lived in Grand Prairie.
And that was?
Les Tinsley.
Oh, yes.
And that was 1920, well, he was buried in 1925. 1926, and one thing I remember about Grand Prairie when I came back to the funeral, didn't remember the funeral, but remember down here on Old Baghdad Road, they had a bunch of mounds built up, and they charged 10 cents a car to go over the mounds, and I was in the back seat hanging on to the ropes in the old Chevrolet, going up and down over these mountains. So
that was exciting, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it sure was. Then from there to Garland, and then we had a tornado up there and lifted the garage off our car and set it down in the middle of the square. Then we moved to Farmersville, town up in old Artie Murphy's town, and lived there until, well, graduated in 41. Went off to school, and then went into the service, Air Force, in 42, and ended up as flying B-25s. Got out in 45, and started working my dad and I worked together there in Farmersville. We had a frozen meat locker and all. Then during the time I was in the service, I met my girlfriend.
Or you met Christine. We're going to let you stop right there. We don't
Okay.
want you to get past Christine.
No.
And now let's go back to when you were in Wichita Falls. You were born there. I need your mother and father's full name.
Oh, well, my father's name was Aaron Jacobs, Aaron Gilbert Jacobs.
All right.
And my mother's name was Edna Jacobs.
And her maiden name was?
Tinsley.
Tinsley. All right. The
Les
uncle that passed away
that was her brother.
That was her brother.
Uh-huh.
All right. And being born in Wichita Falls, and then all of a sudden moving from Wichita Falls, going to Garland. How old were you during that move? A very small babe?
Yeah.
All right. And how long did you live in Garland?
Oh, about 4 years.
About 4 years. You still haven't started to school yet, have you?
Well, I
Okay.
started kindergarten.
All right. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Have one brother,
Would you name him?
and Billy Jacobs, and
right.
then I have a sister named Nancy. Nancy.
Stubbs?
No, I can't even think. What's her last name?
Stubbs.
Yeah, Stubbs. Nancy Stubbs.
All right.
And then I have another sister who was 5 years younger than me that was killed in a car wreck in 1960, and that's about it.
All right. Now, after leaving Garland and moving up north toward Denison to Farmersville, is that the way you went?
Yeah, it's between McKinney and Greenville.
Between McKinney and Greenville. All right. Were you in school when you got to Farmersville?
Well, yeah, I
All
was
right.
there from the second grade, first grade on up, graduated in 41.
All right, from Farmersville High School.
Yeah, I went to
Yeah.
what they call an NYA camp, or where you dug ditches 4 hours in the morning and went to school 4 hours in the afternoon, or vice versa.
Okay. And when you were in elementary school, in your younger days in Farmersville, do you remember any of the teachers that were real important to you, like you were their favorite, or that they really helped you get set on going to school for the rest of your life?
Well, oh yeah, there were quite a few. As far as mention their names, I don't know. Mr. Smith was principal of elementary school. Of course, there was one teacher there that taught me not to chew gum. I'll tell you that, because I was chewing gum one day. So whenever you were caught chewing gum, you had to bend over and take a wastebasket out so far and grab your heels and spit this gum into that wastebasket. And you didn't miss it too many times.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But she taught me not to. Her name was Miss Milligan. I'll never forget her
Ms.
name.
Milligan, you remember, was the gum chewing lady.
Yeah.
All right.
So the rest of them they were all good teachers. I appreciated them.
And when you were in high school, when you finally got on up to high school, were you into sports, or what was your favorite subjects in school?
Well, played 4 years, lettered 4 years in football.
All right, football.
Lettered in track, lettered in baseball, and just about any kind of sport.
All right. Do you have any favorite teachers other than probably your coach in football and all of these athletics?
I guess that's about it. The coaches
And who was your favorite coach?
Well, there's a fellow named Helms, Don Helms. He was really enthusiastic about winning the ball games, and he liked to emphasize his studies also.
Academics were very important,
and
weren't
a
they?
good Christian man too.
Yes, so that
And
was great.
that kind of helped out a lot
All right.
growing up.
Even though you were into athletics, did you have a favorite academic subject? Like, were you into math or history or English or?
No, not what you'd call a favorite, just all general. But sports, I would say this, that not many people believe it, but the entire football, the year I was captain, talked kind of the rest of the guys into taking home economics. So we learned how to sew, we learned how to cook, and how to, of course we probably didn't take the education too far with us about how to act at the table, but we were taught how to act at the table.
How wonderful.
And,
well, that was unusual then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That was the first year. But of course the teacher, Miss Casera, liked to went crazy trying to teach us how to sew and act and all that.
That was a very exciting adventure. And then after you had finished your high school, then you went on into the Air Force?
After going into this National Youth Administration had a school that they taught you a vocation, which I learned mechanics. And then from mechanics, airplane mechanics, then came to Dallas, worked for Lockheed and Corporation, and then I joined the Air Force.
Okay, now we're going to leave you in that Air Force though, because that's just about the time we need to get acquainted.
Yeah.
Christine, we're going to have to introduce her to our viewing audience so she can get into this act, okay?
Good. Well, educational-wise, there was 2 years college though at Center College in Danville, Kentucky.
Now, Center College in Danville, Kentucky. Well, while you were in there, did you play any football or athletics? You went for an education.
Well, yeah, that was just the Air Force. They sent you there. 2 years of college there.
2 years of college there. All right, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Christine, we want you to look out into your camera and tell us about your family. Give us the genealogy, the names of your parents and any of the siblings.
Well, I was born in Dallas, April 18th, 1922. And I don't have any brothers or sisters. I'm one of those that I've tried all my life not to be a spoiled brat because I was the only one. But my mother's name was Ethel Tennyson, and my father's name was William Oscar Brewer.
All right, all right.
And we lived in Dallas, and then we moved over we lived in Oak Cliff for a while, and then we moved over to northeast Dallas, and I went to school at Lipscomb and J.L. Long. As a matter of fact, I think J.L. Long opened the first year I went there, I believe, but I won't be sure. And then I went to Woodrow Wilson High School.
That's the Wildcats, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And after that, I went to Rutherford Business School.
All right.
And
All right, let's go back to the time that you were in elementary school, either at Lipscomb or J.L. Long. Did you have any favorite teachers, any favorite friends that really were meaningful to you as you were growing up?
that's been so long ago. I was fortunate in that all of my teachers were nice. The only one that I remember was my first grade teacher.
All right.
But I don't remember her name, but an episode, and I probably shouldn't go into that, but my hands perspired. And the first day I'd put my hand on my desk and it'd leave a little piece of water, and she thought I spit on the desk, and that upset me no end.
Well, I would think so.
I think it went with me the rest of my school years because I hated school.
All right.
I'm sorry to say.
When you went to Woodrow Wilson, tell me about your time at high school. That was such a nice school.
Well, I didn't, as I say, I just went and studied and tried to make good grades and
Tried to graduate.
tried to get through. I was, as I say, I'm sorry, but I didn't like school and I wanted to get out, so I worked hard to get good
What
grades.
year did you graduate from Woodrow?
1941.
1941, and then on to Rutherford Business School. And what did you study there?
At the time, it was contometer,
All right.
which you never hear of anymore.
Yeah. All right. But we have the equivalency of that, don't we?
But I liked math.
Math
and I
was
was
your
good
favorite?
in math. I always enjoyed math.
Okay. All right. And then, how did you meet this young man?
Oh, boy.
Well, about 25 girls had chartered a bus to go down into Mexico. And we went down into Mexico, and then we came back and had reservations at the Dixie Dude Ranch.
All right.
And so we stayed there, and some of the girls and I went to town, and they had a trading post in Bandera.
In Bandera, Texas.
And Grady and two of his friends came in and wanted to know, they were asking what was going on, and I said, well, there's 25 girls at the Dixie Dude Ranch, and all I saw was dust as they headed to it.
They were ready to go to the ranch.
So
weren't they?
I met him, and the ranches went together on Saturday night and had a barbecue. And then they had a rodeo, and they had a dance, and so that's the way we met.
All right. And where were you? You were at another dude ranch?
No. We were just trying to find a place to stay, and that settled the question right there. But I was stationed in San Antonio at the time.
All right. And
And,
were you with the Air Force at that time?
Yeah.
All right.
So we had learned about the Dixie Dude or the ranches over there, so we decided we'd come over and take a gander at them, and that's how it ended up.
All right. And when did you get out of the Air Force? The year?
In 45.
1945. And then after the Air Force, what happened?
Well, we got married
All right.
and then started working.
All right. And just from that chance meeting at the Dude Ranch, then that led to the romance that followed.
Yeah.
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 Y'all want to add anything to the excitement of the courtship?
Well, other than we have 2 boys and 5 grandchildren. So
Well,
that's a
all right.
grown
We're
man.
going to let Christine talk about the boys. Why don't you hold up the picture of the family while she tells us about the children?
Well, we have 5 children, 2 children, 2 boys, Gary 45 and Leslie 47, and we have 5 grandchildren.
Would you name Gary and Leslie's wives too?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Gary's wife is Debbie, and she's from Grand Prairie.
All right.
And Leslie's wife, his name is Linda, and she was from Richardson.
Okay.
And then the boys, Gary has 2 children, a girl 15 and a boy 13.
Would you name them?
Blake is 13 and Lindsay is 15. And Les has 3 children. He has a daughter who is 24 this year, and son 19 named Alex, and Corey is 17.
All right. And the daughter that is 24, her name?
Alicia.
Alicia.
DeLay. She married May a year ago.
Yes. All right. Now, that is 5 wonderful grandkids. Do they kind of rule the roost when it comes to holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas and
yeah.
all of this?
Yes, especially when it's time to eat.
Yes, that is
They,
true. All right. Now,
I might add, we have a wonderful grandson-in-law, Alicia's husband. And
All right,
his
let's-
name is Lance DeLay.
Lance. Okay, let's get Lance in this program. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, and were all of these children born in Grand Prairie, Texas?
They were
No,
born in Florence Nightingale and over in Dallas.
In
at
Dallas,
Baylor.
but did you live in Grand Prairie when they were born?
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Yes, all right. Did they go to schools here in Grand Prairie, Texas?
Both of them graduated, and now I don't know what year, but they.
That's all right. We don't have. They were both Gophers.
Yeah.
All right.
Well-
Les graduated in 68 and Gary graduated in 70. And Les was played in the band and the stage band, and he was drum major, and Gary played football. And incidentally, they went to playoff in Wichita Falls.
Yes.
And so he
He
was
was-
on that team.
Right,
So.
he was all district for 2 years, so, and got a scholarship to college and all.
All right.
So we're kind of proud of them.
I would think so. All right. Now, we had you out of the Air Force and coming to Grand Prairie in 1948. What brought you to Grand Prairie, Texas?
Well, I went to work for Timco at that time,
All right.
and worked up until, well, it was about 2 years, and they had a major layoff out there.
All right.
And I think everybody but the president got laid off, so we had a baby coming on, so I had to find a job, so I went to work for A&P Grocery.
All right.
And
And what year did you go to work for A&P?
I don't remember.
A couple of years. Did you work a couple of years at Timco? All right. That'd make it about 1950.
Somewhere.
1950.
Yeah. Then I was manager of A&P for 18 years. And,
Where?
Here in Grand Prairie.
Here in Grand Prairie, Texas. Where was that A&P located?
Well, it was on Main Street, where Mott's is now, and then opened
Is
up
that the Mott's that's
on Main Street.
on Main Street near
It was-
Northeast 3rd Street or 4th? Okay.
There was a Skiller's,
All right.
and then A&P, then Watson Brothers,
Watson's went in after
Yeah.
A&P.
Okay.
and so there was, after that, we opened up a new store about where Kroger's is now, so, and then, I guess, I went into business for myself in Fort Worth, and appliance sales and service for domestic appliances, kitchen appliances, and things like that. But it was right after that A&P moved out of the Southern Division, so I don't know if it had anything to do with that or not.
Yes, that probably did. That probably did,
I
Grady.
doubt it.
Grady, while you were manager of the A&P, you met everyone in town probably.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you belong to any of the clubs in town?
Oh, yeah. I joined the Lions Club in 1957 and been a member since, so that's 40 years in the
Been a
Lions
member
Club.
ever since, yes. Is
and
that
the
the
Lions-
Host Lions that meets at noon?
Well, I belonged to that club and was president of that club in 60 and 61. And then with the business I had in Fort Worth, I couldn't attend Noonday Club on Thursday. So shortly after that, we formed the Evening Lions Club. And of course, my wife says I can't say no, so they pushed me into president of the Evening Lions Club.
Double presidency.
So that was 27 years ago, I think it is, 20-something years ago. And been with them there that long. So still a member.
Okay, I'm going to ask Christine a few more questions. Christine, all the time he was doing all this, did you ever work out of the home?
Well, when we first moved to Grand Prairie, I worked for Chance Vault, and they were just in the process of moving from Connecticut.
All right.
And I worked there from 48 until August of 50 before Les was born in September. And then after that, well, I was a mother, and then I was in PTA the whole time the kids were in school. And I think at the time, nearly everybody in Grand Prairie, I was either treasurer or hospitality chairman, which were the two jobs I liked. So I think nearly everybody in Grand Prairie has had some punch or something
that you have built.
that I fixed. So, and I did at one time, I decorated cakes for friends and everything. But,
Oh, that's exciting.
so I enjoyed that, but it soon got to the point that with the activities with the boys, I just didn't have the time to spend that I'd like to.
All right. Do y'all go to any church here in Grand Prairie?
Go to First Baptist Church.
First Baptist Church?
I have been a member there for 45 years.
Did you teach classes and
Well,
all of these things?
I'm still, Grady tells me if I'd study, I'd get out of it, but I'm in the 4-year-old department.
Oh, that is good.
So I've worked down there around 40 years.
With the 4-year-olds, how wonderful.
4 and 5.
That is a real labor of love, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
But we love them, and now I have children of the ones that we had then.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, every once in a while I'm reminded that I'm old down there, because one of them will look at you and say, "You're old, aren't you?" But I enjoy the kids, and
that's
they
wonderful.
remember us, So
All right. Now, I believe Grady has a very special calling at the First Baptist Church, because I've already interviewed you on another show about the Masters Builders. Tell us about that, would you?
Well, the Masters Builders of the First Baptist Church consists of both men and women.
All right.
And we travel all over the country helping other churches or excuse me, building churches or remodeling churches or parsonages. And we've been doing that for about 12 years. We've been into Mexico, and as far south, we've been as far north as Minnesota, Michigan, Oklahoma, Tennessee, just about Colorado, log cabin church in Colorado, which was pretty, and we built cabins in Memphis, Tennessee for a church camp there. So it's just, and of course, the members of the Masters Builders, I'll have to say this, they tell me they wouldn't do what we do for money, so.
That's true.
And they get a blessing, and I get more of a blessing than than the people we build for or try to build for. But
How do you raise funds to be able to buy the supplies, or do the churches furnish the supplies and you all furnish the labor? How do you handle
well,
that?
we have one member in there that had foresight enough to put amount of money in a CD or a interest raising fund or whatever for $10,000, I believe. Then he raised it up to $15,000. So what the interest that we get off of that, it helps us to buy supplies to help build the churches. And then the churches, our missions is not financed in the First Baptist Church budget. So if we decide to go, we pay our expenses or we get the expense from that. So, but everyone enjoys it and they have a good time. Good
About how
fellowship.
many are there in the Masters Builders?
Oh, there's around 25 or 30.
And some
there.
ladies.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
the ladies work harder than the men,
Yes.
trying to show up us men.
Show
So,
y'all up. That's
yeah,
true.
so they
yeah.
paint, clean up, they work hard, and
Okay.
it's a lot of fun.
All right. You've been retired how many years now?
Well, let's
If you
see,
call it
that's
retirement.
retired, supposed to about 10 years, but I
Yes.
haven't. Don't seem like I retired.
And
Sounds like
and
it.
we have 2 more minutes on this interview, and I know you have a standing box in the Gopher Bowl on the 50-yard line because you sit next to us.
Yeah.
And are you still going to the ball games?
We did this year. Last year we didn't get to go because I was in the hospital most of the year, but
Yes.
this year we did get to go. We really enjoyed it. But one other thing I enjoy, I guess, more than anything, and I look forward to it every Sunday morning, is a Sunday school class that I have privilege of leading the discussion. And we have about 20 men, and I love them all just like they're a family, and I appreciate them, everyone.
And the name of that class is?
Well, it's just King's
The King's
King's
Men?
Men.
The King's Men.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. I just think that's wonderful. In the 1 minute we have left, is there anything you want to say about Grand Prairie, Texas?
Well, sure. I appreciate you asking us. Like I say, I think you're getting down at the bottom of the barrel when you ask me. But anyway, I appreciate you asking me, and I do like Grand Prairie. Of course, I live on Carrier Parkway. I wish they hadn't raised the speed limit to 45 or 40 because it was bad enough at 30. So other than that,
We're going to have to
that-
talk about that later,
that's
aren't we?
right. It's a nice town. I enjoy it. Working here, doing volunteer work. Did drive for the city transportation and all that. So I really enjoy being part of it.
Wonderful. Christine, we want to thank you for holding up his hands and keeping him at work with the Masters Builders. And I want to give both of you all Godspeed and thank you publicly for all of the wonderful things you've done through Grand Prairie, for Grand Prairie and to Grand Prairie, through the church that you work with, through the Lions, and through your service in many other ways. And I want to thank you for sharing this interview with us. It's been wonderful to have you all with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do.